Welcome back in our studio, and in today's news,
common sense. It's not as common as it should be. Now, I have said I don't do a lot of dating advice. There are other channels that do that, and they do a fine job of it. And I don't date. You know, I think my wife would get a little upset. But I am married and in a pretty good relationship. So advice on, say, how to meet the right person, I can talk about. And it comes up because tomorrow is a jeepney strike. Because we have chosen to live away from the city and without a car. If there's no jeepney, there's no going anywhere. So tomorrow, there's no leaving the house. Today, I have to go somewhere or I will go crazy tomorrow. And my wife knows that. So I just came to town here to get a drink and hang out in the plaza and buy some lanzones and probably get lunch, just kind of running around. She's fine with that. I could have gone to the city for the whole day. She's fine with that. And I know some guys that can't go to the city by themselves because their wives are insanely jealous. This is something that would not work for me. I had to find someone that was not crazy jealous. I kind of mentioned before, when you're meeting people, you have like a mental checklist. You could actually write a checklist, but I don't. And there's just things that are important. If we're marriage minded or not, that would be important. Many of the younger women here are marriage minded for various security reasons, social norms, what have you. So if you're absolutely not going to get married, that limits your choices. If you want kids or don't want kids, if you're super religious, not religious, different religions, things could come in and cause problems. So there are things you look for. And in the US, we should do that as well. When you're dating, in the US, you can have a little more casual dating than happens here so much. But when you meet someone, you're sizing them up. Is this a weekender? There's nothing wrong with a weekend. Is this like a long-term, steady dating? Is this like a friend? You know, you're figuring out where each other fits. And when you find one that clicks and is like the one, you hope that you also click with them. So it's a process of, you've got to date a number of people, get to know people, figure each other out. It's really not a complicated thing when you think about it, but to do it is more complicated than it should be. And when people come here, a lot of the guys completely forget that. They come here, some cute girl smiles at them, and they lose their minds. If they had common sense, they don't anymore. Some of this is going to sound kind of bad, but it's true. Here, we are the desired commodity. With many, not with, I have some cousins that have zero interest in foreigners. I have one that wants a 25-year-old rich Korean. Good luck. She might get one. But I found in the US, I never had a problem dating. But as I got older and fatter, so did my prospects for dating. And when the girls start to look like me, I'm not really interested as much. And I can't fault them for being old and fat because I also am old and fat. But, you know, you like what you like. And when you come here, you can be old and fat, and 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds still want to date you. So many guys, way too many, come over here, completely fall in love with the first girl that gives them a tumble, and they get married right away. And then find out she's crazy jealous, she's into Tampo or whatever, you know, whatever problems show up, you have to get to know someone. For me to come to town like this, here in town, I'm not really going to get in trouble, but I could just as easily go to the city for 6 or 8 hours and then come home. She doesn't know what I'm doing while I'm away. So if she was the jealous type, she would go crazy. She does not. This is good. So I know guys that either just can't go, or they go and it turns into a big fight, or the wife has to go with them. And that would not work for me. I like to just go wander around, just, you know, I'm not looking for any trouble, but I'm just out hanging out. I like the city, I like wandering, go window shopping, go eat, go walk along the river, whatever. If she goes to the city, half the time we'll split up for a few hours of it because she likes to go do her shopping, I do mine, and it's not a problem. So we click well. When we first met, it was like right off, I was like, hey, she's okay. She's got a nice sarcastic wit, or she just doesn't like me, not sure which. Yeah, she's funny, she's sarcastic, she doesn't put up with a lot of shit. I can do pretty much what I want, you know, because she's not bossy, but if I do anything too bad, she'll call me on stupid shit. It's not a problem. She doesn't get into Tampo. You hear that Tampo is just a required thing here. You have to just deal with it. No, you don't. Tampo, if you don't know, is kind of like the silent treatment, but it just goes on forever. They get mad and they don't want to talk. And as she gets mad, she doesn't like talk. She'd rather just kind of withdraw, get over it, and then move on. And as long as it's not a long time, I'm okay. I was always one that's like, you don't go to bed mad. If there's something wrong, let's discuss it. Sometimes I do have to learn just to give her space sometimes, but she doesn't go like real far into Tampo. I know some of the women that would just go freaking crazy with it, and I couldn't put up with that. I would not put up with it, which is why when you're dating, you pay attention. We dated for a while, lived together, over a year, almost a year and a half before we got married. Because if she showed crazy amounts of jealousy, ridiculous amounts of Tampo, those definitely would have caused me to move on. Because looking like this, I still have the option to move on. We are the exotic, we are the desired commodity. Yes, that sounds horrible, but it's true. So if she didn't work out for whatever, I could easily have gone and found someone else. Now, luckily, she did work out, and we get along, and it's, I think, a pretty good relationship. There are better days and worse days, as there is in any relationship, but for the most part, we get along great. No major problems. And it's because I went into it logically, using common sense, and trying to see, you know, is this someone that fits whatever I'm looking for? And I guess I didn't have a particular list, but if something crazy popped up, I would have said, yeah, maybe not. So you have to look at that. For some reason, a lot of guys here just lose their minds. They come over. Now, there are so many pretty girls all around that flirt with us. Not as much in Iloilo as in, say, Cebu or parts of Manila, or Iloilo City. Never been there. Probably should have. But you could get in a lot of trouble here. So if you want to go out and just mess around all the time, and there's nothing wrong with that, staying single is a good option. This is not a bad place to be single. Then again, it's not a bad place to be married. We take good care of each other. We get along. I don't know what she was looking for, what her little check boxes were, but I fit them well enough. I didn't have anything real specific. I think the biggest relationship killer that I had was no kids. Period. Ever. And that is going to be a problem here with a lot of girls. They are raised and told and just expected to have a whole brood of children, the little stair step of kids. I was a single father. I raised my kids. I enjoyed it. I'm done with that. I am retired and I am here to hang out and have a good time. I do not want a bunch of kids in tow. Is it selfish of me? Perhaps. But moving 8,000 miles away from friends and family is also somewhat selfish of me. So I'm okay with that. And if she had a problem with it, she could move on before we got too serious. And she was okay with that. So I'm okay with that. That's just something you have to look at. She didn't push for marriage. It was my idea. She actually said she was surprised. She said she thought foreigners didn't want to get married. She said the guys just come over here, mess around for a while, and move on. I said, well, I can do that if you'd like. We can just mess around and I'll move on, or we can stay together. And she's like, well, we'll stay together. And then she probably had some sarcastic shit to give me because she does. But that's what I like. Like I said, we get along. She's funny. She doesn't like being on camera, so you don't see much of her. She's kind of in the background occasionally. I've actually tried to get her to make her own channel, like talking about what it's like to be married to a foreigner, and she could aim that towards Filipinas, and I think that could work out. She doesn't want to do it. But one of the biggest things when you come here, take your time. Don't go head over heels in love with the first girl that gives you a tumble. Remember what you're looking for and what you need in life, and pay attention to the person. I know guys that if they're starting to go to the store, their wife accuses them of meeting a girl because they're just crazy jealous. I could not live like that. If she showed that much jealousy, or if she was prone to crazy bouts of tempo, I would have said, no thank you, and would have moved on. Eventually I might have found somebody I wanted to marry, or not. It was never a major concern of mine. I was wanting to have like a steady girlfriend, didn't really care too much one way or the other about getting married. It just kind of happened. It just kind of happened the first time too. But this is going well, so I think it's all right. It's been 5 years now, I think, about. I don't even know what month it is right now. It's, September, October, coming up on the end of the rainy season. Beautiful day today, not rainy. But just wanted to say, common sense. It's not that common, and it should be. I got a friend that just came over here a few months ago. He's already found what he thinks is a fairly steady girl, and seems to be pretty good. But he already met one that was crazy jealous. She seemed nice till she moved in, and then turned crazy jealous, and he had to leave. It happens. But he was smart enough to leave. You have to remember, like I said, it sounds terrible, but we do not have to settle here. Well, she's okay. No. You have the control. You can say, I like this one, I don't like this one, I'm gonna move on. Don't come over here and just settle for someone and then be miserable. I know some guys over here in miserable relationships, and I don't understand it. I didn't come 8,000 miles away from home to be miserable. figure out what you want. Go at it with some common sense and logic. Be methodical. It's, you know, to me, it's common sense, like I said. And you just have to do it. I am amused when I go to the city and I am the center of attention and all these girls are smiling at me. Matter of fact, just buying my drink at 7-Eleven, this really cute girl was like smiling at me a lot. Don't know how interested she was, but she sure did seem friendly. And I smiled back and I had my drink and then I left. It's just, it's an ego boost. Don't need to go after any of them. Don't care. Been there, done that in my single days. I have. Don't need that anymore, but it is nice when they smile. So just be aware of what you're doing, who you're dating, what you're looking for, and if they're crazy, unless you like crazy, move on. You have that power, you have that right, so do they. If they think you're crazy, they can move on. It's, like I said, to me, dating, it's all pretty much common sense anyway. Well, this is fun. I was at the market back there, and I forgot they have ATM machines at the market now. So I walked back that way to Kisano Mall, because that's where I'm getting lunch. They have 2 ATM machines, both down. No money. So I have to walk back over here where I started, got my money. Now I'm walking back to Kisano. Luckily it's only half mile each way, but that was 1.5 miles. I wasn't planning on walking. Not really a bad thing. Oh well. I'm trying not to get killed out here on the road too. Another beautiful day in paradise, eh? Enjoy your day in paradise.